downtown, abundant with history, entertainment, sports, the arts, nightlife, shopping, and dining equals Southern hospitality tinged with the excitement of the New South. Another unique feature of Greenville is something we call art in public places. Hi, I'm Shelley Benthall, inviting you to join me for another walking tour of Main Street as we take a closer look at Greenville's art in public places. He's a former statesman and a former resident of Greenville, and he literally helped shape the history of our city. His name, Joel Poinsett. Physician, congressman, U.S. Secretary of War, and United States Minister to Mexico, Mr. Poinsett certainly led a full life. This bronze sculpture is mounted in the Court Street area at the site of a historic speech made by Joel Poinsett on July 4, 1851. Its location is also near one of his namesakes, the Westin Poinsett Hotel.
We've had a public arts program in the city for a long time, but the idea of depicting historic characters or people in Greenville's history is relatively new, and it really started, strangely enough, with the Poinsett Hotel project. The architect and designers of the Poinsett Hotel were working with us on the idea of transforming Court Street, that's the area in front of the hotel, of making it not just about the hotel, but the entire block area around Court Street. And so we created this really magnificent new public space called Court Street with the brick inlays. We had to, of course, rip up the road to do that. And as part of that project, we wanted to put some fountains in the project, and one of the designers of that project, who is from France, said to us that he loves Greenville and having this fountain is going to be a big improvement or enhancement to downtown, but where are your statues? And I said, well, what do you mean, where are our statues? He said, you don't have any historic statues of people in your history. And I was just immediately struck, well, you're right, we don't. There's Vardry McBee and, of course, Joel Poinsett, who the hotel is named for, and so many others. And that is where the thinking began on having, wouldn't it be nice if downtown Greenville, and how appropriate it would be for downtown to feature some depictions, some statues to honor people in our past who made Greenville what it is today. And the first one was Joel Poinsett with the hotel project. And the hope was to have maybe over time, raise money privately for a statue of Joel Poinsett. I went to work immediately trying to raise a little bit money here, a little bit money there, but one person in town called me back and said he and his family, in honor of his parents, Mr. Dan Bruce is the person I'm talking about, would like to give the entire amount of money to make the statue possible in honor of his parents and behalf of his whole family. So right away we had a Joel Poinsett statue funded.
Artist Zan Wells sculpted this popular, often photographed statue.
City Council had to approve of the design, and so I worked up small models for them to approve. And they wanted to put the sculpture up on a pedestal, which I argued about because I really wanted to have it approachable by people walking up and down Main Street so that they would recognize that this was an important person and try to find out who it was and why he was there and get some history as well as seeing the sculpture itself. It's been my great pleasure to see people having their picture taken and children crawling all over it and visiting with the sculpture. You would see them hugging. They've had hats on him at Christmas, and they've decorated him for St. Patrick's Day, and it's just really wonderful to see people respond to the sculpture that's down there. And that's part of what I have tried to achieve in putting sculpture out, that they are approachable. I'm not one to want to go to see a piece of sculpture and have a sign on it that says, "Do not touch." It's the worst thing, I think, because everybody wants to touch it, and you're so surprised at the feel of it, because it really doesn't feel like you think it's going to. In the summertime, it's very hot. In the wintertime, it's very cold. But it's nice to be able to run your fingers around the mouth, and you get a feel for how the artist has tried to make it. And that is another thing that children, especially when they visit these sculptures, want to know, how do you make that? That's one of the questions, if I'm being asked questions, especially by children, is how did you do that? And they're very interested in how it started and how it ends up.
Also an amateur botanist, Mr. Poinsett often brought flowers much like this one back from his visits to Mexico. The flower later became known as the poinsettia. Another well-known attraction here on Main Street is the Poinsett Society water fountain. This fountain was designed by local architect Kirk Robbins Craig. Craig also designed other architecture in Greenville, including the Peace Center for the Performing Arts, the Greenville Little Theater, and the Greenville County Museum of Art. The base of the fountain displays the names of those that have donated more than $25,000 to the United Way of Greenville County. Private funds paid for the statue. Next up is a man commonly referred to as the father of Greenville. He constructed more than 100 buildings in Greenville County. He's none other than Vardry McBee. Mr. McBee was instrumental in accelerating industrial growth in the local area. He built a textile mill along the Reedy River and was vital in bringing the city its first railroad.
But it began with Joel Poinsett, and soon thereafter another group stepped forward, the Greenville Historic Society, and they said they'd like to see Vardry McBee commemorated. And this is just on the heels of the Joel Poinsett statue. So we had a meeting in my office, and I challenged them to go out and raise the funds to do that if they felt so strongly about it, and they did. I think within about 6 months we had the Vardry McBee statue. And one begat another begat another.
Much like Joel Poinsett, you'll notice Vardry McBee's name in several places in our city. Mr. McBee's gifts to Greenville also included the establishment of male and female academies and land for the city's first churches. Those same churches gave $5,000 towards the cost of this statue. Next on our walking tour is a Revolutionary War hero standing guard at the Greenville News Plaza. He's General Nathanael Greene. General Greene led American troops in the South during the Revolutionary War and played a pivotal role in turning the tide in favor of the Patriots.
Nathanael Greene statue was really the product of the passion of one person, Ken Scarlett, who's something of an historian of Nathanael Greene, and that was done in partnership with the Greenville News, allowing them to cite that on their property.
Although General Greene never actually lived in the local area, his significant role in the war warranted him the honor of having our great city named after him. James Nelson and T.J. Dixon, a husband-wife team from San Diego, created the artwork.
The idea has been to put these historic statues around downtown, and by doing so, we've created something that I think is unique in the United States. If you walk around downtown Greenville, you can learn the history of the upstate, of our community, just by making that trek up and down Main Street. It tells a story. So unlike most public art projects and programs, we have a public arts program that tells a story, tells the story of our community's history through the public art, and I think that's an amazing thing.
The final stop on our walking tour today brings us to the Peace Center for Performing Arts and a sculpture simply titled Harmony. Located in front of a premier center for world-class entertainment, this abstract sculpture was donated by Caldwell Harper. Ken Betch, a local architect, designed the overall project, and William Hobbs of Atlanta designed the sculpture and water feature. This art piece is a greatly enlarged version of a European sculpture. It looks like a ballet dancer. I don't know. What do you think? Well, I'm Shelley Benthall, and that's all the time we have for today, but join me again soon for another walking tour of downtown Greenville as we take a closer look at Greenville's art in public places. Mr. Poinsett brought flowers much like this one back to the United States from visiting. He constructed more than 100 buildings in Greenville County. He's none other than Vandry McBee. Hi, I'm Shelley Benthall, Next up is a man commonly referred to as the father of Greenville. Is it grandfather? Does this look weird? I'll just do like this. Some people think it looks like a ballet. I think I have a bug in my shirt.